Hi, welcome to Tabletops and Bottoms, the podcast where we talk about all things TTRPG, nerdy, and or gay. And today we're talking about...
We're talking about the Omegaverse today. Special guest, Michael.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Woo.
So, I want to start off with a question for you, Marisa, which is, how much do you know about the Omegaverse? Because I know that Michael and I are, I don't want to say experts because I don't think we are, but like, well-versed in what the Omegaverse is.
On a scale, on a percentage, maybe like 5%.
Okay, that's a pretty decent.
It's not.
Out of 100.
Out of 100.
Oh. That was 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
No, 5%.
Okay.
1% to 100%, like 5%.
Okay.
I know nodding, I know that.
I feel like that bumps you up to at least 30.
So we've prepared flashcards. It's that thick. On terms from the Omegaverse. But before we get into this, I just want to say shout out to my dad, who I know actually watches this show. So Dad, probably please don't watch this one. Skip this episode and
No.
watch a different one.
No.
Also, for those of you out there, what is the Omegaverse? Michael, you are a special guest, so I'll let you explain.
What is the Omegaverse? The Omegaverse is... I've never had to explain it. I just know. I was just immersed in the culture. The Omegaverse is kind of an alternate reality, alternate worlds, where gender's different. There's a different layout of the genders. Or some Omegaverse treated as second genders. Alpha, beta, and omegas come into play, and relationships between each group and how people are solidified into each role, and how they function in society, and romance.
Mostly romance in this sense. I do know that it's sort of like it came from like this werewolfy type of culture.
The origin.
I guess. Werewolf culture, is that what we call it?
I'd call it that. Yeah,
werewolf culture is where they started from.
A lot of the terms and specifics of the world derive from werewolf culture.
Yeah. I also love that, for those of you out there, this will not be your first episode of 2025, but for us, this is our first recording of 2025. So, 10 out of 10. Great way to kick off the new year. So, that was our first...
My happy place.
That was our first, so like, what is the Omegaverse? So, now you're a little more familiar with that.
Are you? Okay. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, do you have questions about the Omegaverse before we get into the... Okay.
Okay.
I just think it's really funny that you just wrote Omegaverse.
I did. I'll show you all these cards.
But you didn't put anything on the back.
It's nothing. It's just a flashcard on the front. That's all it is.
Okay.
So we'll start off easy, right? Alpha.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what an alpha is?
I know we took that quiz. I could not tell you. I could not tell you anything else.
Yeah, we all took... I think you're the one... No, you sent it to me, but I think...
I did not... You sent it!
Oh, I guess it was me. I totally believed that. I was like, you sent us that quiz.
I did not.
I might have found it on Twitter. Just a cute little Omegaverse quiz. Slots you as an alpha, omega, or beta.
Yeah.
We all took it. Got a similar score.
Uh-huh. Which will be the next card
Yes,
after
none
the
of
next
us are
one.
alphas.
No. Or
What
betas.
is it? What is it?
So alpha is like
It would have helped if you wrote something on the back.
I know. It's like the social structure. Alphas are like literally like the top.
Also, literally like the top.
Literally on the top. They're usually like the
The professionals, the executives,
Yeah.
the bosses, managers.
yeah, they'll be the ones who are like in positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From werewolf culture, it's like the leaders of the pack.
Yeah.
In a sense, yeah.
Mhm.
The top dogs, the ones you
Yeah.
look up to.
The ones who lead the pack. Which brings us to our next one, which are the Omegas.
Woo.
Which are
The bottoms of the society.
literally
Not the top dogs. They usually work under the top more submissive roles, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
literally submissive.
Then what the fuck is the other one?
You read the next card. Your betas.
How would you explain beta?
I feel like they're just like the regular everyday people who have like
Mhm.
no. I don't want to say they don't have a secondary gender, but they're kind of like the average people, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
all of us who work like our 9 to 5s, or let's be real, like 8 to 5s.
Yeah. A lot of the terms coming up don't necessarily really influence the betas.
Yeah.
They're on the side for a lot of this.
Like I feel like in this world, you either want to be like a beta or like an alpha.
There are a lot of isekais out there where when they're reincarnated into an Omegaverse world, they're very thankful to be a beta, but also confused by everything they're witnessing.
Like they don't have the same struggles. Like if you're an Omega, like your life is
Unless you have a really nice alpha.
that's true, unless you do have a really nice alpha. But a lot of media out there doesn't necessarily give them good alphas like ever.
No. And it's our fault for eating that up.
That's true. So we're moving on to something different. We're getting to a little bit of the saucier parts of Omegaverse.
Pheromones.
Jesus Christ.
I love that you're looking at me for this answer.
Oh.
I think pheromones are exactly what you think they are.
Mm.
They all have. And it helps you attract a mate.
Right. Also referred to as just scents.
Yeah.
Omegas and alphas give off a kind of pheromone or scent that helps identify them. I've seen betas don't really have a scent to them, and they don't often smell the scents off of alphas and omegas as well. But I have read fan fiction where the scent is like annoying to them.
Yeah. I've read those ones too. Like this comes in later. I have a question of this one later. But yeah, there are some where I've read where it's like it's almost like you're wearing perfume.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you're children and you just came out of gym class and all those girls are like with all their stupid spray and like the boys are like with their axe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I imagine it would be like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but then like omegas and alphas are drawn to each other's scents.
Yeah. Like the two popular kids who fucking get prom king and
Mm.
I love that you're so upset by this knowledge that you're learning.
I know what pheromones are.
But also, which leads us to our I already put the card away. This goes hand in hand.
I don't know what this is.
Presenting. Michael?
Actually, I don't really know this one. Is it just presenting as an alpha and omega?
Is it when a dog sniffs another dog's butthole?
I'm assuming that's what that is. I'm not gonna lie.
You presenting your beehole. Is that? I don't know.
I'm also assuming that's what that is because for some reason
You don't know either?
No, I don't because I've never actually come across this term specifically in fan fiction because that is primarily where I get all of my Omegaverse knowledge. So I'm going to Google that right now. Oh, we're super wrong.
Oh.
Damn.
So Omegaverse, presenting is when someone develops their secondary gender later in life. So like, I guess you go through puberty or whatever, and then you develop into like an alpha or an omega, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it makes sense if everybody like starts as a beta, and then like later in life you like become one or the other.
Or you just stay a beta.
Lucky them. So we were all wrong. It's not sniffing buttholes, which is infinitely better. Oh, now I should have put this one up by like Alpha, Beta, Omega, like the first cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was wrong in this order. It's okay. I thought this was gonna be like the butthole sniffing thing, and then we were gonna go into
mating bite / mating marks.
You wrote this one. So...
I did write this one. So a lot of times, there's a kind of a coupling aspect to alphas and omegas in fan fiction literature. And when two find each other and decide to be life partners, or actually, that's not always it.
I was gonna say that's not always.
That's not always it. It could be bad. It could be bad. Okay, when an alpha finds an omega, they want to be theirs and they want to let everybody know it's theirs. They'll bite their neck.
Yeah.
And often leave a mark.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll send a sign to other alphas that omega is taken.
Yeah.
Claims.
I was gonna say I've also heard this being called like a claim.
Mm-hmm. I read the nicer ones where it's like consensual. They're like, let's do this, let's bond. But then there's also ones that are like, you're mine now.
Yeah, I've read a few of those ones. Mm-hmm. But like a lot of the ones that I read, they like do it in the heat of the moment.
Oh right.
And then they're just like, which is how it leads to my favorite trope, accidental marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting a little more into deeper territory here.
Mm-hmm. Suppressants.
I feel like these ones are a little self-explanatory. Kind of. Maybe I should have changed the order of these ones.
With pheromone, because sometimes the pheromones can get a little out of hand. Mm-hmm. The pheromones of omegas could cause alphas to get violent.
Yeah.
Act out. Yes.
Question. Are they stinky to everybody else?
To betas.
I think so, yeah. There was one... Oh god, I can't believe I'm about to tell myself. There was one where I didn't read the tags, and it was a Magnus Archives fanfiction.
Oh my god.
It was a John Elias pairing. Don't at me.
Ew.
And I didn't read the tags, right? So this one just like smacked me in the face, where he was just like working, but like, cause John's like a workaholic, whatever. So he'd been working for like a week straight, and like Elias just like opens the door to his office that has been closed for like basically a week, and
it was stinky.
Yeah.
Do they describe the stink?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. I think it depends on like who the author is. A lot of times they just say that it was a really strong smell, but don't actually describe what it smells like.
Piss.
It could be sweat.
But like, if we're going with wolves,
or it could be like
that's true.
But with people, sometimes it can even be like a sweet smell.
Yeah, I've heard that one described a lot. There was one. There was one where somebody described it as like BO, like armpit, and I was like, "That's worse."
Some people like that.
I didn't.
There's a manga I read before I really knew what everything was. Don't read this with when there's anybody around, but it's called Pheromone Boy. And after gym class, everyone in the school will be like, "We smell something," and he'd have like to run away because he didn't know that he was giving off. But that's like that. So suppressants come in as
This is like
medication.
every teenager's worst nightmare.
Suppressants are like the medication in the universe that helps suppress
The stink.
The smell. Yeah.
They can also that's
God.
one of the things that they could be used for, but they also help with the next couple terms coming up that are really fun.
So we're gonna do these together because they go hand in hand. These two. So rut and heat
Oh God.
go together. Which one do you want to do?
I'll do the alpha. No, it would make sense if heat goes first, though. I think that one's easier.
Okay. So
I know what heat is. It's like a dog when a dog's in heat.
yeah.
Is it actually like, are they bleeding? Like,
No.
okay.
No, this
No.
is purely sexual.
Mhm.
Okay.
Where it's like okay, so heat is very like omega specific, right?
Mhm.
Basically for a period of time they get like super horny and like emit pheromones that attract alphas. And for them it's like a period of like uncontrolled horniness. And the way to make it stop is to have sex or
Mhm.
to make it like to wait it out.
Mhm.
But if you wait it out, it's like worse.
Mhm.
The stink.
The horniness.
In tandem. And then that's kind of like the rut for alphas, except they have a I must breed right now.
Right.
Hunting for the omegas, looking for the scent in a state of rage, one
Yeah.
could say. Mhm.
More
Okay.
often than not, I think in fan fiction, it's always the heat and never the rut.
Yeah. I only recently read one that had the rut in it. Yeah, that's where the pheromones come into play
Yeah.
because they take them constantly, but then they always run out or miss uphill
Right.
when it's around their time for the heat, so they just like explode and everyone around them is like, ooh. That's another trope too, where
Yeah.
they're desperately in heat and the alpha's like, I didn't want to do this, but I'll help you.
Yeah. I read another Magnus Archives fan fiction where it was
Oh
literally
my
that,
God.
except it was not heat. It is a rut. And
Wow.
this one was not a John Elias one. It was a John Martin one. So more normal. So what gets into our heat rut nesting.
I don't know.
This is kind of like during the heat, or as it like progressive, the Omega would build like a nest
Yeah.
of like cushions, comforters,
I
just a
think
comfort
like
space.
a fort type situation.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what I would imagine. But there was one, like when I heard this term for the first time, please don't at me. This was also a Magnus Archives one.
Oh my God.
But listen. I had never heard this term before that one. But I imagined it was like it was John, obviously. Like stealing like everybody's clothes. This was also like a Polytribes fic, so it was like
Mm.
everybody, so it was like John, Martin, Tim, and Sasha in like a polycule. They were all in a relationship, and so he was like stealing their clothes and like making like a literal like nest out of them, like a fort of their clothes.
I don't like this visual.
I think that makes sense because sometimes they'll also include the alpha's clothes.
Yeah.
Using the scent of the alphas on them so they can have it while they're going through their heat.
Yeah.
Ew. I'm sorry.
It's not very Omega of you to call it ew.
Oh my God.
I think it's just like preparation.
I think so too.
Mhm.
Ew.
Oh.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, speaking of preparation,
No.
our next card, I think these two will go together as well because they're both sort of similar vein. Which one do you want?
Surprise me. Oh, this is yours, actually.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
You said you know.
You
this
said
one.
you know this
You said
one.
you know it, so please explain.
I'm probably gonna explain it wrong. When it goes in, and then it expands, and it can't come out, right?
Yeah.
It's stuck in there.
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard that, I had to Google what that was.
Oh my.
Because I was like, what the f are people talking about? Like, nuts. So I literally had to Google it. I literally had to Google what that was. I am upset by what I saw because there were visuals.
Because like when you Googled this, Safe Search probably wasn't as strong as it is now.
Oh, I fully went into like a private tab because I was not adding that to my actual search history. Hell no.
Oh.
I literally had to Google it. And then there were visuals, and then I was like, I hate all
Like-
of this.
Drawn or like
No.
dog,
Yeah.
wolf.
Yeah.
Um,
Like the real one. And then also there was a bunch of like furry content,
Mm.
which
I'm
is
surprised you haven't mentioned furries until now.
I'm not a fan of furry content. I had to block the furry tag on my Tumblr because it was coming up too often when I was like in the Teen Wolf fandom.
Mm.
So
I don't know what you expected.
either.
And
Slick, which is quite literally what it
Yeah,
sounds
honestly,
like.
I make
yeah.
that face too. Yeah.
Yeah. Omegas are usually self-lubricating. And this is what it's called, but like,
There's extra of it during the heat.
yeah, like excessive.
so they're just stinky and slimy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the alphas want that.
Yeah. So that was our last of the vocabulary cards. We're going to talk about fiction and media. If you have any recommendations. I know that you have your note card that you've written your recommendations on.
So I could go back through some of the ones I mentioned before. Like I said,
Yeah.
my first one I read by accident, I remember so vividly. Not because of the contents, but just because of like, I put the pieces together. But Pheromone Boy by Nantoka Danchi is some one-shot dodenshi, I believe. Remember, don't read it when anyone's around. Megumi and Sugumi, also don't read it when anyone's around. This is a series. You can actually find it at Barnes & Noble. It'll be one of the wrapped books. Super cute series though. Actually wholesome. Todaima Okairi, or Welcome Home, that I've been mentioning, is a new anime on Crunchyroll. Really wholesome Omegaverse, actually. I recommend that as an introduction. And then there's actually some live actions as well. The first one that came out was a little controversial, called Pit Babe by Thailand, I believe.
Okay. Why am I also not surprised that it's like a Thai drama?
Yeah. Oh, the novel it's based off of has a lot of Omegaverse elements, and they really watered it down in the live action because they didn't want to be too controversial, I think. But alpha and alpha tendencies are still mentioned, but nothing is mentioned about Omegaverse. But a good live action that commits to the Omegaverse is Couple or Not. This one's Chinese, actually.
Okay.
Yes, so I recommend that one because it's divine.
I will link all of those in the description. Probably their Wikipedia pages.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can go look up where you can watch them yourselves. I don't actually have any fiction or media recommendations because it is not actually a genre that I actively seek out to read. I always stumble upon it by accident.
I wouldn't.
I know way too
Your
much.
list.
Oh, I have a list because I just wanted to be prepared, but I don't actively search it out. Like the first two are accidental, but then when I heard there was an anime coming out about it, I just wanted to see how it'd be portrayed in a new medium because we've read it, we've seen it
Yeah.
in manga and stuff.
I haven't.
Yes. I guess I am seeking it out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like I don't type it in, but if I hear something coming out that has elements of it, I'm like, interesting. I just want to see how it's portrayed,
I think for me, like, I've read a good number of like Omegaverse fan fictions, but I also don't seek it out for a very specific reason because a lot of them have like, I don't want to say they're not good plots, but it always comes across as like very, I don't know what the word is, but like a lot of the times it's like really manipulative and it's like not great.
Like power dynamics are a little bit too strong. Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not a huge fan of power dynamics. I really like all the cutesy like fan fiction ones.
Mm-hmm.
And of course the not cutesy ones as well. But like usually the ones that I come across, like some people go like hog wild on like Omegaverse stuff, but they like they don't just, it's not just Omegaverse stuff, right? They always pair it with like the filthiest things I've ever seen. Which is why I don't actively seek it out.
Mm-hmm.
The only cute ones I have to say that I've seen, there was one Magnus Archives one that was really cute, and the rest are literally from like Teen Wolf. Oh, and then one CSI fanfiction. That was low-key cute, and before I knew what Omegaverse was.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I kind of just find myself pulling up titles that everyone's talking about what's popular, and then I don't read the tags. So I'm like, halfway through like the first or second chapter, I'm like, oh, and then I just keep going.
Yeah, that's fair. There was also one really cute like Star Wars Finn and Poe one that I read. That one was also like a modern AU, which was also fascinating.
I really like it when they're modern because it talks about how like the insurance companies regulate the suppressants and stuff.
There's like a whole...
The fuck?
it's
the politics that go into it that people come up with. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. The world building.
It's funnier when it's American, I think.
Because they gotta pay.
Yeah,
you gotta have insurance.
Yeah.
Have you seen those apps that it's like a streaming service, but you have to pay for each episode, but they're all like ABO stories?
Yeah.
Gross.
I've mostly watched them all on TikTok.
Okay.
There's one that was like absolutely wild, and I don't remember what it was called. I think it was like called like My Alpha Romance or something like, or some like weird ass name.
No, I think it was My Alpha Romance.
Was that one?
I think so.
I am not going to bother linking that one. If you want to find it, please look it up yourself. Yeah, that one was absolutely wild. Last piece for this episode, we are in our hot takes segment. You had a hot take for me earlier. Please share with our viewers what that is.
Like not to cause, I know it's a hot take, well, like not to cause drama, but it's like I read a majority of gay shippings. And I feel they just resonate well with Omegaverse because it's, secondary genders. So when I do come across a heterosexual ship, Omegaverse fan fiction, I'm kind of just like, why? Because it's already kind of like that in society, the dude and the girl. So making the female the Omega, I'm just like, okay, okay, this is just a romance. But when the female is the alpha, that's when I'm like, this is divine. This makes sense.
Agreed.
100%.
So
that was my hot take. It's just like,
that's a solid
queer,
take, yeah.
or the female should be the alpha.
100% agree. I 100% agree with that.
Just to make it different.
Yeah.
So it's always so funny coming across like the terms in the wild or hearing people talk about it, because like there's like those alpha men out there now. I'm just like, okay.
You know what? That's so fucking true.
Mhm.
Those alpha men, they're omegas in disguise. That's my hot take.
Isn't there like in the mall? There's like a really fancy. I don't know if it's a clothing store or like a handbag store, but it's like Omega. I'm just like
Yeah,
every time I
it's
walk
like a
by,
really
I'm
famous like brand.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't we
Curse
go
for
to
me.
when we went tubing and someone had the big Omega on their leg tattooed?
Oh.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Do they know? Are they aware? Not that that's what it means firsthand. It just makes me giggle now.
Yeah,
I
agree.
It's the first thing I think about, unfortunately.
Omegaverse has like rotted my brain, so that like every time I hear it, that's automatically what I think about.
Right.
Last hot take from you or no?
I just don't like it when they treat Omega so bad.
Agreed. 100% agree.
Like they always treat them
Yeah.
like they're lesser in society.
Yeah.
Like parents are ashamed. They're like, my Omega child. I'm like, it's your child.
Your pup.
What?
Yeah, it's
Like betas are ignored, but Omegas
Yeah.
are like stepped on.
I don't like when they use real people. Like
Agreed.
That's
100%
crazy.
The
That's-
K-pop.
100% agree.
That-
I don't like the real people fiction. It's weird. Super fucking weird.
Like not even just ABO, just all, in general.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Those poor K-pop boys.
The first Omegaverse fanfiction from Supernatural was actually a real person. So it was between the actors, not
Oh,
the
not
characters,
the characters?
which is yeah.
I didn't know that.
Learned
That's
that one this
awkward.
morning.
Jump scare.
Wonder, right?
I encourage everyone to be a little open-minded, try new things, unblock tags. Because it's just like, it's kind of just like another, kind of like another world template, I think. An easy way to get your ships on the board.
No, that's fair. Read at least one. Educate yourselves. Or don't.
Watch the anime. The anime is super cute. Only 12 episodes. Very,
Oh.
very gentle of the topic.
Okay.
We can
I'll
watch it.
consider it.
I'll force you to watch it with me.
Last thoughts from you?
I was forced to be here.
As a co-host, it's part of your job.
I guess.
All right. Well, with that, we're gonna end our episode here. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this very, very fun episode of Tabletops and Bottoms. If you liked what you heard today and you want to hear more from us, please leave us a comment, like, subscribe, push all the buttons. If you want to see Michael come back and talk, let us know as well.
I understand if not.
Amazing. And if you guys want to support us in a more personal manner, please consider donating to our Ko-fi. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Bye.